All right, let's dive into a really powerful story today. It's a parable about that lifelong search for something I think we all want, right? A real, lasting, unshakable peace. It's a journey that's going to take us all the way to the top of a mountain, only to find out the answer was much, much closer to home than we ever imagined.
And this line, wow, it's the cry at the very heart of our story. And it's a feeling a lot of us can probably relate to. It comes from this weary wanderer who's spent his entire life chasing a feeling of peace, but every single time it just slips right through his fingers. It's this search for a light, a joy, a calm that won't get snuffed out by the storms that life inevitably throws at us.
You have to imagine, his search was constant, it was relentless, and, it was just completely exhausting. Sure, he'd find these little moments of peace, but they were always temporary. Every bit of joy he found somehow ended up turning to sorrow, and every moment of calm got shattered by a new storm. His whole life was just this cycle of finding and losing, and it left him feeling totally adrift.
So where did he look for it? Well, exactly where you or I would probably start. He looked for this light in the quiet of temples, hoping for some kind of divine answer. He searched for it in the crazy energy of big cities, thinking maybe he could find it in connection with others. He even looked for it in the faces of people who just seemed to have it all together. But no matter where he looked, the search was always external. And the result? Always the same. Temporary. Then, just as he's about to completely give up, he hears a legend. It's a story about a man high up on this remote mountain, a mysterious figure they called the Keeper of the Light. The story goes that this man was the one who tended to the very light of the world, keeping it safe in a silent cave. For our wanderer, this was it. This was the final glimmer of hope, maybe his last chance to finally find the answer he'd been searching for his whole life. So he starts to climb, and it's this long, difficult ascent, a physical journey that was basically a perfect mirror of the tough spiritual journey he'd been on his whole life. With every single step up that mountain, he was carrying the heavy weight of his search, just hoping that once he got to the peak, he could finally set it all down. And when he finally makes it into the cave, what he sees is incredibly simple. It's just an old man, the keeper, sitting peacefully next to a single, small, but very steady flame in a little stone bowl. That was it. No big show, no grand spectacle. Just a man and a fire. And this was supposed to be the light of the world. The wanderer, totally out of breath from the climb and just the sheer weight of his quest, he explains his entire life's journey, that endless search, the constant cycle of joy and sorrow, and then he asks the one question that drove him all this way. How do you do it? How do you protect this flame and keep it from ever going out? The keeper's response was, well, it was simple, totally confusing, and completely unexpected. He just smiles and says, by not trying to. Can you imagine the wanderer's confusion? He's dedicated his entire life to trying to find and protect this light, and the keeper's big secret is to just do nothing? It made absolutely no sense.
So the wanderer says exactly what we're all thinking. It's a totally logical question, right? It's based on everything we know about the world. A flame is fragile. You have to shield it from the wind, protect it. If you don't actively try to keep it safe, of course it's going to go out.
And then the keeper does the unthinkable. In response to the wanderer's fear, he just leans forward, and with one single gentle breath, he blows the flame out. The cave is plunged into absolute, total darkness. The very thing the wanderer had spent his entire life trying to avoid had just happened. The light was gone.
But then, in that complete darkness, something amazing happens. A new light starts to appear. But it's not coming from the stone bowl where the fire used to be. No, it was blooming, softly, from the walls of the cave, from the ceiling, from the very air itself. The whole space began to glow, almost as if the stone itself remembered the warmth of the flame.
And this is where we get the keeper's incredible explanation. The light was never in the fire, he says. The physical flame, you see, was just the source. The real light, the one that lasts forever, was the warmth that remained in everything the flame had touched. It was a light of memory, a light of essence.
And this just lays it out so perfectly, doesn't it? This is the wanderer's huge breakthrough. He'd always believed that peace was this delicate little flame that he had to constantly guard and protect. But the truth, wow, the truth was so much deeper. Peace isn't the flame itself. It's the warmth that stays with you long after the fire's gone. It's something you carry inside you, not something you hold in your hands. So,
The wanderer walks down that mountain a completely transformed person. The world outside hadn't changed one bit. Same mountains, same sky. But he had changed. He stopped searching. And because he finally stopped searching, he found that the light, that quiet warmth of peace, it was with him wherever he went.
So, what does this all mean for us in our lives? Well, the takeaway is pretty profound. That light you're looking for, it was never lost to begin with. In fact, it's just patiently waiting for you to stop searching so hard for it. The real journey isn't out there somewhere. It's about turning inward and just recognizing the warmth that's already inside you, a light that can never, ever go out.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. The wanderer realized that peace wasn't about protecting some fragile flame. It was about trusting the warmth that remains once you've stopped being afraid of the dark. So the question for all of us is this: have we stopped fearing the dark and started trusting that our own inner light is more than enough?